We're going to talk a little bit about AI. We've been using AI. I don't know, Leonard, how much you know about BOP, Sonia. I know you're well familiar, but we are business coaches and work with small business owners, and we exist to liberate them from chaos through purpose, people, process, and profit. Those are kind of the four things that we really dive into. We have a bunch of tools and we build all of that out with business owners around the country. And when we think of liberating chaos, there's really one thing right now that stands out more than anything else when we meet with new business owners, and it is the idea of AI. So we have been dabbling this because we want to stay ahead of our clients and for our clients. And I want to start with a pretty powerful number, actually, which is that according to multiple studies, 89% of employees claim that they have used AI for work in some capacity. That is a large number. 89% have used it. However, only 60% of those have been given what it takes to actually use. They've been given a policy or given somehow to use it, some way to use it. These statistics are pretty alarming because when you think of your employees using AI, if you haven't told them what they can and can't put in it, that can be a big deal because the policy doesn't even exist. So that's what we're here today. We are going to walk through. Matt is a guru with this stuff. He's actually studying a PhD in the ethics of AI. It's kind of his world, and you'll understand that pretty quickly when he starts talking about some of the different things. But he was the one that kind of introduced, he works for BOP. He introduced, hey, we have a policy, but it's not thorough enough because us as coaches, and we have a team of 12, we were doing a lot of different things within AI. And it was like, no, we can't just have people throwing random stuff in to this thing. We need a policy. So that's kind of where we started with a lot of this stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that we have a little bit of a visual here. So these were those stats I was sharing with y'all just a second ago about the 89 and the 60% or 59%, because most of your people are using it, but we don't set rules. So I want you to think about what that means. That means and we work with a lot of construction companies. So if you have an estimator or an office manager, or for Sonia, all the different roles in the Beaufort County Treasurer Office, or for Flintard, all the different roles in your business, whatever those might be, they're pasting things and they're posting things into all these AI tools, whether it's client details, pricing, financials, contracts. Flintard, your specific situation, because we work with clients too. I mean, your clients all have very personal aspects of them, right? Especially you think of physical, emotional, spiritual, all these pieces, you add all that in. To put all of that into some machine, nobody tells people what is okay and what's not. And it's not because they're careless, it's because we just never told them what was allowed and what wasn't allowed. So the way we use it, a lot of people use it, they'll write proposals and follow-up emails. Some will summarize a meeting, they'll record a meeting and summarize it. They'll build a spreadsheet, draft scopes of work, they'll answer customer questions, clean up job notes, stay organized, stay connected, whether it's QuickBooks, Asana, any project management software, whatever it would be. And all of those touch very real business data, right? That business data that you have that allows you to do your job for your business, that's all very real data. And anytime you throw it in, now the AI can see that because it's already in your business. It's just whether or not we're governing it or not. So when Matt started bringing this up and him and I diagnosed this, man, we started bringing this to some of our business owners, and it was really powerful to see some of this stuff. So before Matt takes over, I do want to acknowledge two principles that we build everything on around AI. These are two principles that BOP did not come up with. These are two principles that are not only true for us, they are true about AI across the board. And that is, the first one is BYOC. To use AI, you have to bring your own content, bring your own context. For Sean, it's bring your own cerveza, right? But BYOC, bring your own content. We say this a lot. If you put trash in, you will get trash out of it. You have to bring your specific industry, your specific business, your specific situation into AI, because if you give it that, then it knows better what to give you. So no matter which AI you're choosing to use or whatever software or product it is, we have to be able to bring our own content first. The value is your knowledge, your process, your judgment that's been built over years and years of doing what you do. AI is simply the execution layer on top, but it doesn't know all that other stuff. It doesn't know your business. It doesn't know your history, but you do. So we need to bring it to AI, right? We need to bring the content and allow it to be the working horse behind it. So the first one is as we walk through this, there's going to be a large level of BYOC. At the end of this, Matt is even going to share a policy. We will share a policy, a template for all you have to do is kind of edit it. But even that, you need to provide your own content and context for, because that's just a policy we wrote kind of off the cuff. The second principle that we always say, these are kind of the two pillars of AI. The second one is the 10-80-10 principle. You can see it in the visual. The first 10% is going to be you. It's your direction, your input, your content, your context, your call. You have to initiate the situation. Then let AI do the heavy lifting. That's about 80% of the work. That would be drafting something, building something, implementing something. But here's where most people leave it. They leave it at the end of that 80, maybe 90, right? After the 10 and the 80. But there is a final 10% that goes back to you again as the user. This is your judgment, your polish, and your sign off on this being real. AI is susceptible to issues, it's susceptible to errors and mistakes. You're well aware of that. So that final 10 is crucial. I don't care what AI you're using, I don't care how you're using it. That 10-80-10 principle is what we found needs to be followed every time. You open it, it works it, and then you close it. Because it never gets the first word or the last word. You do. It's not built to do that. It doesn't have an internal clock waking itself up. You need to initiate and you need to clean it up on the back end. So as we read through, those are two filters I want you to think through if you were to implement some of this stuff, BYOC and 10-80-10. So Matt is going to walk through a few different things. He's going to walk through one, why you need an AI policy, two, what your policy should look like, and three, what to actually address within your policy. So Matt runs our tech stack and our AI here at BOP and has really allowed us to go deeper with this stuff, deeper than I even knew possible. So anyways, Matt, please take it away and walk through some of this stuff.
Sure. Yeah. Like Brandon said, I'm in charge of AI implementation at Business on Purpose. Before that, I've been working in education. So Flintard, I know what it's like to work with the use of tomorrow, and they're all using it. So thinking through how do we use it responsibly so we can pass that off to others, although a lot of them are not allowed to use it because most AIs have strictly 18 and older level. But anyways, all that to say is I'm familiar with processes in education, worked in education for 5 years, and then working through AI implementation there at a research level. And now in my own field of studies, studying ethical implications and policy writing when it comes to that. So because of that, I do the crazy thing that all of us admit to doing, but we all lie about. I actually read the user agreement when it comes to a lot of these AI frontier labs like Anthropic and OpenAI. So ChatGPT and Claude are the two frontier models now. So I don't, nor does Brandon. We don't have any affiliation with any AI models. We don't work alongside of them or for them or anything like that. We just implement them. We know what they do well, what they don't do well, and then, best practices as we're developing. So I'm not going to obviously summarize the user agreement, but I'm going to pick up as far as why we should be using it. There's a part in the user agreement that's all caps, and they actually preface it. And this is specifically when it comes to Anthropic. They even preface it by saying this next part is in all caps. And we're doing that to draw your awareness to it, and so that you read it and understand the implications of you using things like these different AI models, right? And here are the things that are said within the all caps, okay? They cannot guarantee privacy. So any information, it's as is, as available, that sort of thing. The service, its outputs, what you get is what you get, and they can't guarantee privacy for the information that we put into it. Two, that you are responsible for all information that you put into it at a chat level, creating projects, outputs. You're responsible for all of it, which can be a good thing and also can be a devastating thing when it comes to like privacy, hacks, leaking, that sort of thing. And on top of that, if say Anthropic or OpenAI is ever sued because of information that you put in regarding a client, and the client wants to, say sue Anthropic, you are the one responsible for covering all legal fees on behalf of Anthropic, that sort of thing. So you agree to indemnify yourself, essentially. You're responsible, that sort of thing. So the kicker here is their total liability to you is capped at the greater of what you paid in the last 6 months if you're using their services, or $100, right? So that's all that you're going to get out of them, sort of thing, is what they're saying. So yeah, why you need one, they spell that out for you in the user agreement in all caps. What do they have access to when you're using these things? Essentially everything. Everything you put into a chat, everything you create as a design product, a document, it's all stored on their data center servers. And just like any other data center server, it's susceptible to hacks. It's not a matter of if, but when. So all these reasons are why we need to be aware why we should be having policy, not just inward facing, but outward facing, especially when we're working with clients. So as far as the nitty gritty of all that, all these AI models, especially frontier level models, can also connect to other information that you might think is rather useful. And it is rather useful. It can connect to things like your calendar, your Google Drive, your Zoom, Asana, DocuSign, all these other things. So now you're giving them even more information and connection to even more information that you have, and you're asking them to store that information as
Mm.
well. Human eyes are seeing this when they're training new models, they're seeing it. So all these reasons lead us to believe that you should have an in-depth policy, and especially to clue your team in on what are best practices for how to implement AI as well. That's number two. Number three, what should your policy look like? And I want to start to talk about the generalities of what your policy should look like. Like Brandon said, if you email us afterwards with some information, we'll send you like a 2-page template, and it's just plug and play from there. Some things to work through. So what kind of conversation are you having with AI is an important consideration. Is it going to be personal? Is it going to be formal? Who's having these conversations? Who's actually using AI and at what level? That can be important for like team conversations of maybe you've never talked to your team. If you have a team about, hey, how is everybody using AI and implementing it? Where have you seen success and failures? And then figuring out at what level do you want to have it? So who is going to have access within your business? Is it just going to be the owner? Is it just going to be key leaders? Is it going to be most staff? Is it going to be all staff? Is there just going to be one department responsible for AI implementation? Is it going to be across all departments? So as you're thinking through how you're going to plug and play with the policy, these are some of the key deciding factors about who's going to have access to it, at what level are you going to have access to it. So that also allowing the context of the conversation to dictate the extent of the policy. So if you're only going to use it for basic, strategy and problem solving, right, that's going to warrant less of a policy than if you're creating documents, if you're having to edit documents, if you're connecting it to Google Calendars, if you're doing scheduling through Zoom and phone calls and pulling transcripts. So understanding that the type of conversation, if it's personal versus formal, only some of it versus, hey, we're willy-nilly using it for everything, that's fine. But then you have to have a policy that services the depth at which you're going to be using it. One more thing to talk about before I talk about, what we're going to call pillar 3, what to address in your actual policy, is that there's an interesting place that you can see. It's called the AI incident report log. Anybody can access it. The AI incident report log literally logs all incidents from, how AI has been destructive, both at a personal level and to businesses that have caused major lawsuits. So, anything from individuals who've literally been gathering, insight into their mental health that, has led to an individual, unfortunately committing suicide because of the information that they've been putting in and getting out of AI, versus hundreds of thousands versus $1 million lawsuits that have had in this. So if you're going to be in the nitty gritty of it and you want to implement it across everything that you're doing in all departments, you really need a policy to service that, because most leaks are what's called shadow leaks. And shadow leaks is basically somebody using an individual using AI, in their normal everyday work, but they were unaware that any information that they put in, whether it's about their clients, whether it's about financials, just happens to get leaked or used and trained on new models and then leaked unaware to them. And now, they're at liability for that. So anyways, allowing the conversation to dictate the policy, the depth of the policy, understanding how you're going to be using it, who's going to be using it, all of these should inform what your policy is going to look like. And so when I move to my last point here, which is say pillar 3, is what to address in your policy specifically. Okay. So communicating at the level at which you want your team to be using. Okay. Who's going to be that one person that is going to own the AI policy? There's the one person should be in charge of that. You need to make sure that's clear across the team. You need to set the client data role. Client data never enters an AI tool without written permission on file. So if you're working with clients, about particular strategies, finances, products, plans, that sort of thing, you should really have permission on file from your clients or whoever it is you're working with that, hey, I just, written permission is going to be obviously most ideal, but making sure you have that written permission before you take that information that you're gaining from people and then inputting it into your system anyways. We all do this. We've done it prior to using AI models with things like DocuSign and Asana, but now we should be doing that for AI models as well. As far as handling meetings, AI note takers support note taking. They don't replace it. We use it. We use it to pull transcripts. We use it to break down points and summarize those informations. But again, as Brandon said at the beginning, the 10-80-10 rule, that's important. There always needs to be a human set of eyes before it and after it. You're thinking about the approved tools, of which I've already named, but getting permission on file to use all those tools and to notify the person that you're using these tools in conjunction with us working you as partners. And then, reviews, always reviewing. How are we using AI policy? I would suggest quarterly reviews with the team of like, hey, how are we using it? How have we discovered? How is it producing success in what we've been doing? What hasn't been working? And then questions, err on the side of caution. So if somebody has a question about, I don't know whether or not this fits into what we've addressed within our policy, that should always be, it's a no-go. It's a no-go until this has been clarified, until this has been rewritten into our policy, and then this information is shared across the team. So always looking to err on the side of caution when we don't know what we should be implementing and how we should be implementing it. Also, before I pass this back off to Brandon, when you reach out and we give you the template, there's just going to be a box. My last thing I'll say about policies is you don't need another thing to put into your policy handbook that, most people sign off as reading, but they don't read, right? This needs to be serviceable that you can put in front of your team. Literally column of do and do not and bullet points is suffice so that your team can quickly look over when they have questions to say, oh, is this okay? Or is this not okay? Having that printed out even in an office, and then after quarterly review, reprinting it out with questions that have been clarified are sufficient enough that it's inward facing towards your people knowing, oh, these are acceptable uses. This is in line with what I'm using. And this is unacceptable usage. You shouldn't be using it this way. So I guess before I hand it off to Brandon, if anybody has any particular questions at this point, or Brandon, do we want to hold off? What are your thoughts?
No, let's do questions now from what Matt just said, because I'm going to go through and I'll share how you can get, if you want kind of the blank template, or if you want a custom build out of one of these, of what you, we'll get to that. Yeah. Any questions about what Matt just said? That was very high level quality information that was just expedited. So it wouldn't shock me if there are a couple questions. So if you have some, please come off mute and ask them.
Or type them. That's fine too.
You're a little soft. You're a little nicer than I am.
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah.
You said you're going to provide two templates, one like a basic one and a more refined one, right?
It'll just be one template, and you'll have within that template the do and do not columns of suggestions that I've already put in there. It's going to be more than what you're even seeing on the screen here, about even more specific ways to address things that should or shouldn't be found as in AI usage, and using that as a guardrail, as a guideline. It's going to be different company to company, scale to scale. For what you're doing in education, it's going to be shaped and molded differently than another business industry. This isn't, hey, this is fireproof for all industries. This is, hey, this is a basic set of guidelines and guardrails that if you use and cater it towards your business, you're going to check the boxes and allow you to shift the template and mold it how you see fit.
Okay. That sounds good. I like that.
Yeah.
Perfect. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone else?
Nikki, I saw your question. Can we please send you the recording of this? When we get a recording of this meeting, we will send it out to you. We know you showed up. I'll make sure that we get this out to you, Nikki. Yeah, we'll make sure you get that. It'll just a little bit of a cut down version without some of the wasted time, but yeah, that'll all be in here, so you should have access to it. Thanks, Nikki. Cool. So if y'all have questions, feel free to interrupt me here. But Matt, thank you for that. Yeah, I don't know, Flynn, how big your team is. Sonia, I know you work with a number of people. AI is in your business. And there's just so much liability around it. We need to make sure we're doing it well. Most small businesses have not written anything down to govern any of this. So Matt, thank you for that. And Matt, I love what you said too. We don't fix this with a 40-page legal document that no one will ever read or implement. We fix it with 1 page, maybe 2 pages, but this 2 columns list of what AI can and cannot touch is huge. So not only that, I would recommend, Leonard, if you have a team with you, we need to communicate this to our team. We need to communicate this with our clients because that will protect you. Hey, just so you know, if you want to come do work with me, this is how we're leveraging AI right now. And if you're okay with it, this is how I'd like to put some of your, whatever it would be. We just need to communicate really, really clearly. So here's what I'm going to have for you. And all of them are going to require an email from you. So the first is just that starter template. It's very, I don't want to say it's blank. It's not blank. You're going to have to add your content. Again, it's AI, right? You're going to have to add your content. We did the first 10 and the first 80. The last 10's on you with that one. It's just a blank. It's not going to be set for your industry. But if you want that, please send me an email. My email's right there, brandon@mybusinessonpurpose.com. In that email, please include your name, your business name, what position you are. And then I do want a description of how your team uses AI today. We're not going to do anything with that info. It's just really helpful for us to get more data on how people are using AI. So if you want that starter template, we'll send it to you. Once you send the email, I'll get that out to you. If you want kind of a done with you option, Matt is offering a 1-hour build out where he will have all his information. He'll have all of his templates, but he'll just meet with you for about an hour and learn way more about you and build one specifically for you. The one we built is built for a business owner, period. No specific industry, nothing else. It's still pretty good, but if you want a 1-hour build out, send the same info, your email, business name, position, and description of how you'll use AI to tech@mybusinessonpurpose.com, and that'll go to Matt. And if you have an interest in having this for your whole team, we've done that a number of times. Matt and I have one scheduled in a couple of weeks with a pretty big team out of Dallas that we're hosting for them. And we're doing a training and a full custom build out of their AI, not only their policy, but also their AI workflows. If you're interested in that, email either of us with the same thing. Let us know you want that, and we'll get that on the books. But Sonia, Leonard, thank y'all for joining today. Yeah, and I hope to see your emails because I'd love to get this stuff in your hands, and then feel free afterwards if you have questions to let us know what we can do to help y'all out.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you both. Appreciate you to the utmost.
Of course. Of course. Nice to meet you, Leonard.
Thank you so much.
Likewise.
Have a great day.
Thanks. Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
Bye.